Hello and welcome to another episode of Metal Effort. My name's Nehemiah and today we're going to be talking about some knives that I sold and why I sold them. Also, you'll notice my voice is a little scratchy. I apologize. It's been pretty busy at work, been talking a lot. I've not made a video for a while because of it, but I feel good enough to do it and you'll just have to put up with it or you can skip the video. So, I'm going to scooch my little phone in here. These are the knives that I actually sold. The PM2 and the Para 3, I foresee not selling these two particular ones. They're my favorites. I might add to the collection, but I definitely want to keep these around. I like them for comparison, and depending on what size knife I want and what situation, high corrosion or good old-fashioned M4 with its high edge retention, I use them for different things, and I like the variety that it gives me. But you're going to see some pretty big knives here on my picture here. These are the 4 knives that I recently sold, which is nuts because you'll see that top one is the Olamic Busker. So it's probably my favorite knife that I've had, to be honest. It's not cheap as far as like value goes. It was about $800 to get this knife made for me, and I enjoyed it quite a lot, to be honest. Now, I ended up selling this as well as the other knives. All of the knives that you see on this screen are going toward one knife. That's right. What could be more grail than this grail? That I would sell this grail as well, not as real, as 3 other excellent knives. I have a review on the Micro Typhoon, which I really enjoyed. I can highly recommend that knife, as well as the Para 3 rather. Obviously, I have one that I enjoy quite a lot, and while that was a excellent model and even matched this one to some extent, I wasn't really feeling it for a couple reasons. I pretty much decide that I don't want to keep buying MXG clips for each Para 3 that I have. And so that was really when I decided that as much as I like the Para 3, and I do call it a gem in my review, me personally, I only need one really good one with one $20 clip on there. I don't want to, invest too much into buying all these different Para 3s and then feeling annoyed that I have to move my clip around or dump a bunch of money into clips. I don't want to spend $100 on clips just so I can have my 4 Para 3s have decent clips. I'm not about that. And so even though it's a good knife, the flaw of this lanyard tube and a bad clip placement, I'm going to respond by not buying more than one. That's kind of my limit. So that's why the Para 3 got the boot, even though it's a gem and I love it. As far as like why I actually sold the Micro Typhoon, this really, like all the knives on here, the knife I wanted very badly. And I'm not made of money, guys. I'm just not. I gotta use my voice to get some more monies, and I can only use it so much. So it had to go. And I'm not going to tell you, this is a spoiler right now, I'm not going to tell you what knife I bought. I'm going to save that for the unboxing video. I'm going to do a minimum of 3 videos on the knife that I purchased with the selling of these 4 knives. And so we'll leave the surprise unboxing. I'm not even going to tell you the name of the knife in the unboxing video. So we'll start to build the hype now. Jump on the hype train. Oot, oot. It's moving out of the station. So next I want to talk about the 940, and I want to focus a lot of the conversation today on this knife because I didn't actually review it. That's kind of a failure in my foresight. As soon as I decided I was going to sell this knife, I should have done a review. It was my user knife. I definitely had a lot of time put into it, and I just never really got around to it, and I regret that. I can talk a little bit about it though. The version I have was a very good one. I would say this is probably my recommendation as far as what version of the 940 you should get. This is the, I think, Knife Center exclusive, I want to say. It's the 940-1501. It's got the 20 CV, which is awesome, just like M390. And it had the G10 scales. Now, you could spend more money and get the CF ones. I think that's the 940-1, I believe. But it's more expensive than this knife. You can get this knife brand new for about $200. And the CF version is higher than that. I think 240-ish, 230-ish. With worse steel, in most people's opinion. I think it was S90V or something weird like that. So I think this is a good, like, steel value kind of benefit ratio on this knife. So as far as the 940s go, this has the best to offer. Why did I sell it? And to be honest, of all the knives I've sold, I think this is the one that I was least impressed by in the long term. It worked fine as a user. It was okay. There's a couple main problems. So number one, it's not a very tall blade this way. And so it ended up being very obtuse. If you're sticking it into something and running along, like, it cuts, it's fine. It's not particularly slicey. With the reverse Tonto, it makes it look cool, but it makes the tip even kind of like thick. Like, I don't mind it being thick back here, just forward of the thumb studs, if I had a very narrow tip that I can kind of work with and slice a little bit better. But since you flip that Tonto, it kind of like makes the back end of the blade and the front end of the blade kind of equally bulky and just not that great of a slicer. And then the tip itself, like, I don't mind like a Wharncliffe blade that has a crappy tip. If it slices and is tall and can do other things, like, it's fine. I can put up with it. But I've got this like long and narrow blade that's not very slicey, that also doesn't have that much in the like puncturing category. Like, stabbing into it is just more awkward than you would think. Like, it's something simple. I had like a bag of ravioli, like refrigerated ravioli, that I wanted to like open up, and it's like a paper bag, but then on the inside is like plastic, and I'm just like struggling to pierce a bag of ravioli. Like, I grab my pair of PM2, and it's like, it was a lightsaber. It just like poke, zoom, and it was the easiest thing ever. Now, it could be part of the sharpening, but really just that tip is not really the best like geometry for poking. And it's not like I'm even not, as far as like penetration on my scale of like desirability in a knife quality, it's not that high, but it was enough for me to be like annoyed by it. And then finally, there's no like finger choil. It's got like that pokey part right there. And so when you hold the knife, it just feels like the blade, which is already kind of long, is just like way out here. And you kind of feel disconnected from your knife when you're holding it. So like, if I could only use the PM2 from back here, it wouldn't be as good of a knife. The fact that I can choke up and get more detailed work and feel more connected to my knife is part of the appeal of it. And so it's just a step behind the Pair 2, in my opinion, and one that I didn't actually like using it as a user. I felt like any of my knives would have been fine as a user if I just decide to use it all the time over all the other knives for like the actual work, instead of like testing or just making sure the blade's sharp. I'm kind of over it. I'm over it. I think it is a jack of all trades. I understand why people like it for everyday carry. Like, it kind of does everything okay, but it doesn't really stand out as any one good aspect of a knife. Like, I don't know. Pass. I'm such a knife nerd that I may as well just have multiple knives to fit in multiple roles. So I can do better than that. We might do a vote or something on like what my next user will be after I get some more knives in. But that's pretty much why I sold my 940. I liked it, but not enough to keep it around. And I guess I'm just deciding to run a tight ship because I'm poor. And then you're going to be surprised to see this. This was not on the list. I actually sold 5 knives, not 4 knives, 5 knives to fund this new knife. So I love this knife, the Neutron. Now the thing is, the version I had, I was able to restore it. I have the disassembly and like rejuvenation video up, and you can watch that if you want. It came to me in really bad shape through a knife trade. It wasn't damaged per se, you know, scratches and scuffs and that kind of thing. It was gross and the scales were unusable. But I bought the CF scales, which really took it to the next level. And I very much like this knife. I even found out later that you can use the Benchmade deep carry pocket clip on there, and that took it to the next level because it's already so thin and light, and then it just like hides in your pocket. Nobody even knows you have a knife there, which is cool. So I can highly recommend this as a EDC, like 3-inch blade, incredibly slicey. It serves a purpose. The action I got dialed in once I started to use grease instead of nano oil, and I can highly recommend the Neutron. I will probably end up buying this knife again. I think, I don't know, we'll see. I like it a lot, but I didn't really like having a user that I didn't actually put the love into the knife myself. I kind of want to start fresh and have a new relationship with a brand new Neutron at some point. We'll see. We'll see. Definitely an awesome knife, but it had to go to fuel the new grail of all grails, which you will get a chance to see soon. Hopefully. It's in customs right now. It might take another week or two to get, but I'll keep you guys up to date on when that is coming out, and we will get to unbox it together. So that's it. I'm just checking in, kind of explain what knives I sold and why, and give you a little teaser on what's to come. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.